Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Duck here, once again. Right, now, I'm just going to talk about, like, a few things in this video. Basically, the last 48 hours, this weekend that we are currently in. It's Sunday right now. A bunch of stuff's been announced, a bunch of stuff has came out, a bunch of stuff has happened. I just want to do a really, like, incomprehensible video talking about it and my, like, sort of feelings and whatnot. Three things in particular. I want to talk about Smash Brothers. I want to talk about the announcement pertaining to Smash Brothers at the Game Awards. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually not Smash related. I want to take a little bit of time to talk about Judgment, which is the new game from the Yakuza studio, the makers of Yakuza. They had like an announcement where they announced the like English version of the game, the English title, and showed off a trailer. And I just want to like talk about it a little bit. Like I said, yeah, it's coming out. It's going to be called Judgment, and it's going to have an English dub with the Japanese dub still intact. So many people are getting so wound up about this. And even more impressively, in terms of like the game's localization, it's going to have two sets of subtitles. One where the subtitles will match the English dub, and two where the subtitles are, I guess, like traditional Yakuza, because apparently over there at like Atlas Sega and all that, when they're translating Yakuza games, they tend to try and like make it so that the Japanese dialogue fits in with like the English text. I don't know exactly how it works, but I can at least be like really impressed and really appreciative that they're going to that effort for it. As for the game itself, you know, like we've seen like little bits of gameplay floating about. It actually comes out this like next week in Japan, really soon. I'm gonna have to do my best not to like see any like full gameplay or that whatever, because we're getting it in the summer, which is, you know, fair enough. The windows of release are definitely shortening, which is good. But yeah. One thing that sort of like struck me, like the announcement itself, it was done on, what was it, Kinda Funny Games, this like stream. I actually know very little about it, but it was announced on there, and I was hoping, because they were talking about it being a Yakuza announcement, I was really hoping that it would be the English release dates for Yakuza remasters of 3, 4, and 5, you know. I think a lot of people want that right now. They're taking their time to announce it. It is definitely going to happen. Some people are still skeptical. And at this point, I'm actually beginning to understand why they're skeptical. But rest assured, it's going to happen. They just need to like get their finger out and announce that shit. But yeah, so we didn't get that. We got Judgment. And I've sort of like came to this conclusion about Judgment as well. Judgment looks really good. I really want to play it. I may even play it in English. But I'm gonna like, I don't accept it as like a new IP anymore. I was really wrestling with that. Because I don't know, I just like the idea, oh, Yakuza Studio, they're making a new IP. See, they don't know just how to make Yakuza games. They made Binary Domain, which was really good. But just the fact that they kept like emphasizing that this was a Yakuza announcement, in my mind it's just like, okay, it's a Yakuza game, right? Maybe all the characters are going to be different. Maybe even the gameplay will be different in some aspects, but everything they've said and shown so far just leads me to say, no, it's a Yakuza spin-off. Not that that's a bad thing, okay? I'm just saying, I don't think it's a new IP anymore, okay? Anyway, enough about Judge Eyes. I thought that was a better name as well, but whatever, enough about that. Let's talk about Smash Brothers. I have that on in the other room right now. I've been playing it all weekend, on and off. And yeah, it's Smash Brothers. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted from it. I've only been like playing through classic mode. Like this is something that I did with like Wii U and 3DS. You know, I just was like super committed to completing classic mode with every character. I've not even touched like World of Light yet, the adventure mode. It's all just been classic mode, and I've been unlocking characters as I go on. I think I have like over 50 characters now. I'm hoping to get all of them unlocked today. But yeah, it's Smash Brothers, and it's wonderful. It's so good. Just sit there in front of my Switch with a GameCube controller and still play this game. The fighting system is really good. Definitely very different from Smash 4, you know, like this was sort of like a a bit of criticism towards like Smash Ultimate as it was being shown off. You know, like obviously when it first got shown off, everybody thought it was a port and stuff. Then people saw like more of it, and it was like, okay, it's not a port, but still there were people that said it was very similar. I promise when you play it, it feels really different, you know, compared to Smash 4. Just like all the new mechanics and all the other things in the new engine and stuff, and even how it looks a lot nicer. Like, maybe I just kept watching Smash Ultimate footage at 380p or 360p on YouTube or something, but it's definitely a much more prettier game. So yeah, I really do dig the fighting. One thing I will say is that the online is awful. Like, it's not that it's like laggy or whatever, you know, it is a little bit laggy, but you know, so was Smash 4, it's nothing like too terrible or that. And I played with friends and, you know, the connection was pretty much perfect because we both have stable internet. But you can't look for one-on-one matches. Okay, I don't know if this is a bug, because what you do is you go into like a preferred rules section and you say things like, oh, I want to play a game with no items, I want to play one-on-one, I want to play with stock, not time. You know, you put all this stuff in, but that's all it is. It's a preference, because the game will still put you in places with that don't meet these conditions. I kept getting put into like free-for-alls with 3 other folk, not like one-on-ones, and yeah, is this a glitch? Does this need fixed? Because the online's gonna pretty much fade away if there's no one-on-one action, at least via with like in the competitive community, you know. So really disappointed by that, you know. And again, playing with friends is actually really good. You can spectate what your friends are doing without having to like take part and stuff. That's an improvement. But that online, yeah, one-on-one matches really needs to be there. So yeah. And lastly, I want to talk about, holy shit, like the Game Awards came on there, and you know, I wasn't really that fussed about anything that was happening with it. In fact, I had like friends who were kind of fussed about like what was going to be Game of the Year, what was going to win this category, win that category. I hate those sort of award shows because it's like it really brings out in people, because it's like if their choice wins, it's like, oh yeah, the Game Awards are excellent. They know what they're talking about. But if their choice loses, it's like, who gives a fuck about award shows anyway? They're all stupid. It's like, and I don't know, I always see that and I'm like, eh. But the nice thing about the Game Awards was all the announcements and stuff, and for the most part, I wasn't hyped about anything that was coming out. I'm not saying I won't like play anything that was announced there, you know, like the, I guess the Crash Team Racing remake. That turned a lot of heads. You know, I'll play that. Sonic's got some competition this year. But the thing that I'm pretty sure stole the show, see what I did there, was that they announced the first character for Smash Brothers DLC, and it's gonna be Joker from Persona 5. And I was just like, I woke up that day and just like immediately was like on Twitter or whatever, and I just saw like a tweet for an article, Persona 5's Joker goes into Smash Bros, and that's how I found out about it. And it was just like, it was just like such a. It's not that it's a weird pick. It's like, okay, here's the thing, right? The Smash community for years, from what I've been able to like observe, has dedicated their time to trying to like work out how Sakurai thinks, right? It's like they dedicate so much of their energy and time just like trying to analyze what he's done, what he says, all this stuff to try and like predict his like inclusions in the game. But you can't predict Sakurai, okay? Nowhere was that more apparent than when Piranha Plant was announced for a fucking, like, a Sword DLC character. He's like a Mewtwo pre-order bonus thing, but I'm sure you can buy him, like, separately. That was the moment when, like, I think everybody was just like, okay, fuck this, we're never gonna work out Sakurai, let's just, like, play his game and be happy. But these 5 DLC characters, it's been like already finalized, and it's also been said that they weren't chosen by Sakurai, they were in fact chosen by Nintendo. And not that Sakurai followed like an actual pattern beforehand, but this first choice with Joker does like open a few new doors that weren't previously open with like previous choices. I mean, every character in Smash Brothers has always been like either a fairly decent Nintendo staple or a really like prolific, really big deal sort of like third party staple. You know, like you got Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Ryu, Cloud. These are all like big fucking third parties. The only exception was probably Bayonetta, but even then she'd been around for like a good half decade, and she was obviously the winner of a fan poll. At least that's what Nintendo said. So she was like, she's kind of the exception here. And even Cloud, you know, people always like point out how Cloud was like this weird, like, oh my god, you'd think that would never happen choice. I really disagree with that, because not only, you know, Cloud, he obviously represents, not that his game specifically, Final Fantasy VII, is prolific with Nintendo, but his series definitely is. Not just to Nintendo, but just gaming as a whole, you know? And if you were going to pick a Final Fantasy character to be represented in Smash, which is definitely a series that deserves to be represented, you kind of have to go with Cloud, because he's the most popular character from the most popular game. But whatever, I'm getting off topic, My point is that Persona is like, what, a year and a half old? More than 2 years if you're counting like Japan's initial release. But Joker is definitely not like a legacy character at this point. Persona, or rather Shin Megami Tensei as a whole, sure, but with like Persona, it just feels like, this feels like the most, it's gonna sound bad to use this word, he feels like the most trend chaser choice so far in Smash history, at least in my opinion. You know, he doesn't have that sort of like, he doesn't have as big a legacy as the others, even Bayonetta. But he is definitely popular, and from an incredibly milked game. How Persona 5, like fucking Persona Q2, Persona 5 Dancing. He's gonna be DLC in like Catherine as well. He's fucking everywhere. Like, so that's the like me being a cynic though, because otherwise I do promise I am very happy about this. Okay, I love Persona 5. I almost want to do like a whole video talking about sort of Persona in general, because with this announcement I actually found that I had a lot to say. And yeah, I think that's everything I really want to say. Technically, the third like Sega character to be announced, obviously he's Atlas, but you know Atlas is Sega. Do people get annoyed at that? You know, I've been thinking about that a lot. See if I like came out here and said Persona 5, that's a Sega game. Like, is that offensive? Do Atlas fanboys or like general fans find that offensive when I say that? Because I don't know, I always feel like I need to clarify it, even though he is both Atlas and Sega. I don't know, I'm rambling. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Just like a little quick video talking about shit. So, yeah. See you after, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.